Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the review and chat for Robert Jordan's Lord of Chaos, which is book 6 of The Wheel of Time. And before I really get into that, there's one question that I was asking myself throughout this book, and you can drop your answer or comment below to this. But with as many enemies as Rand has coming at him, from the Aes Sedai to the Forsaken or the Chosen, however you want to refer to them, the Children of the Light, the Shaido Aiel, wouldn't it make sense to bring Kalendor, which is isn't it supposed to be the most powerful of the Angreals? Or at least for the male half, I know it is, but isn't it supposed to be one of all of them? It would make more sense. It would make sense to grab that thing and make sure that you have it with you for the power. And we'll get into that why I think he should. I mean, I know the answer is really because, if he did that, then nobody would dare question him or dare even challenge him, probably, and would make a lot of the storyline pretty much meaningless. But anyway, drop the comment below. I'm curious to see what you think on that idea. Should he remove Kalendor from Tyr, as a reminder for them, instead of saying, I will be back, but I'm taking this with me for now, to keep himself more safe. So drop that in the comments down below. I'm interested in hearing what you have to think on that one. As always, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It's free for you and it helps me out and spread the word. Just as again, it helps me out and it shows that you enjoy what it is that I'm doing here. So, with Lord of Chaos, a lot going on here. And again, almost 1,000 pages, long book. This one moves a lot slower. There's a lot more in terms of politics, a lot more in planning and scheming and, plotting, on all sides. You got Rand playing the Aes Sedai, the Aes Sedai trying to play Rand. You've got the Forsaken playing each other. And the Black Aja, for that matter, even. So there's a lot going on here, but one of the main themes in this book comes from the Aiel side of, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. If I'm not, put it in the comments below and let me know. The concept of Ji-Ito, which is basically honor and obligation. Ji is the honor, To is the obligation. How does it work? It's not concrete set in stone, but there are ways in which you can shame another person or you can shame yourself. There are things you can do, actions. If you, attack somebody, you don't touch them, it's considered an act of shaming. If you, ask a gai'shain who, is basically working their toe, if you ask them what they did before they donned the white, that would be an act of shaming. Killing a pregnant woman, a child, those would also be considered shaming acts. And the amount of shame goes into, the toe. You basically do work. You work it off for a year and a day to the person that you shamed. And after that, you got your honor back. You served your toe, you served your obligation, and you got your your honor back, and you would go back to do whatever it was you were doing before. Wise Ones, Clan Chiefs, and there was one other group. I'm not quite exactly sure who it was, but I know those two groups, the Wise Ones and the Clan Chiefs, are not, that they're exempted from Ji-Ito, from the toe part. They don't have to become gai'shain. They won't be, actually. So, what else is going on here? Something happens that I kind of thought would happen, but not this soon, and it happens in the rebel camp. Egwene does get to Saladar. She learns how to do the gateway, the way that Rand can do, where you can move, slice kind of that air door way and go from one area to another. Well, she does that when the Saladar Aes Sedai summon her to say, come from the Wise Ones basically ASAP, like now, if you can. And she gets there in that night, really. She rides Bella through that gateway and ends up there the same night, wondering, okay, are they going to still me? Are they going to boot me out because I was pretending to be Aes Sedai, which is against Tower law? Instead, what they do is they make her the Amyrlin seat for the rebel camp, what they call a Little Tower. I figured Egwene, and maybe it's from a dream that she had in one of the earlier books, but I kind of saw Egwene as being an Amyrlin eventually. I just didn't think it would be here. I mean, she hasn't even been raised Aes Sedai yet because they don't have the the rod of oaths and the scepter and all the things to put them through the trial of becoming Aes Sedai. She's still accepted, but they find that you don't necessarily have. It doesn't say that you have to be Aes Sedai to become Amyrlin. But once you become Amyrlin, you become Aes Sedai. So she becomes Aes Sedai without going through the trial, having to do the 100 Weaves that we see Moiraine have to do in New Spring. She's able to bypass that by becoming the Amyrlin seat. And she's learned a lot from the Wise Ones. And she starts to make it pretty clear that, I'm not going to get pushed around. They think they're going to use me for their agenda. I've got my own agenda. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as the story goes. The other really surprising thing out of this is Nynaeve. She's finally able to channel, if I can speak. And what does she do? She heals Logain. She gives him back his power. Didn't see that coming. I probably should have, because after all, Nynaeve was a wisdom, so she's into the healing, and I think Yellow Aja always held that spot for her. But I didn't see this coming. Then she gets Siuan and Leanne, and she heals them of their silly. Now they can channel, though not near what they were used to be able to do. So Siuan basically is helping guide Egwene as being a former Amyrlin herself to say, here's kind of how you play the game of houses. You start to put this group against this group, this Aes Sedai against that Aes Sedai. You put this rumor out and that rumor out. And then you got everybody thinking the way you want them to think. And it's a logical way of thinking. It really is. And we'll see how it progresses as the story goes. I'm going to assume, that eventually she's going to end up back at the tower in Tar Valon, and she's going to be Amyrlin there. And Elaine will obviously probably be on the throne of, Andor. Caemlyn and Karahine and, those two cities that Rand wants her on the throne for. We also find out who the third woman is from Min's dream on Rand. We knew we had Elaine and we had Min. But remember, there was a third woman that was going to have to share, as I can make fingers there, a third woman that was going to have to share Rand. And this you could kind of see coming, but it was kind of interesting to see how Robert Jordan played out. I think it was kind of comical. Avinda, the Aiel who was maiden, who is now an apprentice to be a wise one. She can channel, but they had her. They had her basically as the Wise Ones were using her as a spy on Rand. She slept in his sleeping quarters, like right next to him. She never left his side. I guess, eventually something is going to pan out. But in this book, she actually tells Elain, I owe you Tow because I love Rand myself. And and then Elaine's like, you know what? Well, here it gets even more interesting. There's a third one, and Avina looks at her like, what? Like, she had no problem sharing Rand with Elain, but now you throw in Min, and it becomes a little bit more trickier. So what's the other big thing that happens in this book? Well, Rand welcomes in an embassy from the Tar Valon embassy, and they're able to trick him. They get 13 Aes Sedai in there, and they're able to shield him. And by shielding him, it cuts him off from the true source of power. And he can't channel. He can't do anything. He becomes powerless. They hold him with air. He can't move. And they stuff him in a chest, and they basically kidnap him out of the palace in Karheim. It takes a few days before they realize that, before everybody else realizes what really happened. Because he always likes to take off, making the gateway and going between Caemlyn and Karheim and all that without really telling anybody. So that, they just think, oh, he just went off on his own. And that's it. Sorry, I kind of have a little bit of a sinus infection. My throat's a little gimpy, so I'm trying to get through this the best that I can. Hopefully it's not annoying you, but if it is, put it in the comments below. No offense. So anyway, Perrin rounds up whoever he can. I mean, the Aiel bring their Wise Ones who can channel, which they're not all that strong. But Berelain, who, she steps up with some of her own troops. Some of the other nobles step up with their troops. He meets the Two Rivers people, who also have the Aes Sedai from Salador. Because remember, Alanna was the one who bonded Rand in the Fires of Heaven. So she knows Rand's going through a whole lot. She can feel his pain being bonded. So in a way, that bonding kind of saves Rand here. And she can kind of have an idea of where he is, if not an exact location. So all this leads in, and we see the Black Tower, which is where Rand has Mazrim Taim, teaching men how to channel, which, they're not supposed to. According to Aes Sedai, it's, filthy. Because the male half is tainted and the males go insane. Only women should be able to channel and use the true source, the light, the power, whatever you want to call it. So, it brings us to about the last 20 pages, the last chapter before the epilogue. Huge battle! 20 pages. He puts this huge battle in to get Rand out. And once Rand gets out, obviously, it's weakening the Aes Sedai's shield. There's 6 of them that are constantly holding that shield. And Rand's always kind of fighting with Lews Therin, on how to do this. And as the battle goes, he starts to feel, the weaves are tied. They're not constantly held the way that they were. They're now tied, which becomes easier to start to figure out how to unravel those. And once he's able to break through those, and he gets the power, it goes all. He starts knocking down Tar Valon Aes Sedai's left and right. Now, the book says that he's shielding and stilling. I don't know if he can do that, if he's got that power or not. We'll see. Whether or not, because he captures them. We'll see if that is something that he can do, if he could actually still them. But we also see his Black Tower, the Ashaman, come. And these guys are quite potent. I mean, they're going to give the Aes Sedai a run for their money. I mean, Mazarin Taim did a dang good job in training these guys. Really, he did. Because, I mean, they're calling forth everything with only like one lightning bolt going astray and almost killing Rand. I mean, they're knocking people out left and right. You know, the Shido Aiel are coming at them, and they're just blowing these people to pieces. I mean, if this were to be a movie, and I would love to see how Amazon does this because it's so graphic. It really is. Just flesh getting ripped apart, and they're not even looking like human bodies anymore. I mean, it's just insane. And all of that comes in that last chapter. So, in Goodreads, I gave it a reluctant 5 because of that last chapter, because I think that battle was worth the 900 and probably 940 pages leading up to it, and having everything set up the way it needs to be set up. And, every little detail that Robert Jordan mentioned, you better pay attention because it's going to come to fruition. So, yeah, reluctant 5 stars, but 5 stars nonetheless. Now, one other topic before I end the video, and it's just something that kind of bothered me, but I read a comment on Goodreads, actually. Somebody asked the question, can I skip books 6 to 10 and, and not miss anything just because this is too long? Somebody else is like, well, I'm on book 6 now, and I'm just wishing the Lord of the Dark would already win. Here's my opinion. Nobody's forcing you to read these books. They're long coming in. It's a 14-book series. If you factor in New Spring and then the World of the Wheel of Time, which I'll be doing once the 14 books here are done, that's 16 books. And these 14 are long. I mean, there's no hiding that. I mean, the books are they're massively thick. So if you don't want to, if they're not appealing to you as you're reading it, if it seems too slow and it's not holding your interest, then don't read it. Just stop and say, okay, it wasn't for me. And that's it. That's all I gotta say. And end of story. One other final thing, and then I will end the video, is the cover. I was trying to figure out what is this symbol, because Rand looks like really mad here. And I'm trying to figure out, who the woman here is. And I figured, and it's revealed basically at the end. The Aes Sedai who save him, who represent Seladar, the rebels, they want to be seen on equal footing as the Tar Valon Aes Sedai. And Rand says, okay, they came with 9, and you came with 9. I'm holding them captive. You have a choice. I can either hold you captive, or you can kneel and swear fealty to me. That's it. Those are your odds. Either prisoner or servant. And the 9 Aes Sedai bow and swear fealty. And that, I believe, is what the cover is showing, is that last area where it says at the end of the book that the world was changed forever once the Aes Sedai bowed and swore fealty and loyalty to Rand, the Dragon Ripborn. So, I think I covered it all, or at least as much as I can, within the time length of the video without making the video way, way long. But as always, please like, subscribe, spread the word, press the notifications on top so you know when the videos are coming on. And let me know your thoughts on the series, on the videos and all of that. I'm always open to to hearing from you. So with that, I am going to say bye. God bless, and until next time, see you later.